Hello friends, this video on structural organization of animals part 37 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So let us now look at the respiratory system. Just now we were talking about the respiration through lungs as well as skin. So let us see what happens here. Aquatic respiratory organ is skin, whereas terrestrial respiratory organ is lungs, skin as well as buccal cavity. Now as I mentioned before also that frogs are amphibians. They live both on land as well as water. So they need to have organs which can work both in land as well as in water. So for respiration, when they are in water, skin acts as the aquatic respiratory organ. So skin is permeable to oxygen, carbon dioxide and water. So underwater, oxygen diffuses directly through the skin into the blood. And what happens in case of terrestrial? So in terrestrial, they have lungs. Lungs exist in pairs. So here you can see the two pairs of lungs in the picture. So here you can see the lungs. So they exist in pairs. They are sac-like structures located in the upper part of thorax. So what happens? When they breathe in, they take in oxygen. And these lungs, the function of the lungs are very similar to humans. It is just that in humans we have ribs and diaphragm to control the movement. But here you do not have all those things. So here what happened? It puffs out the throat. The frog puffs out its throat, draws in air through the nostrils. When floor of the mouth is compressed, air is forced into the lungs. So through the mouth, it will take in air and then force it into the lungs. So that is how it takes in oxygen. And similarly, it gives out carbon dioxide. So these are other than this also, skin also acts as a respiratory organ on land as well, and buccal cavity as well. That is the oral cavity. So these are the respiratory organs of frog. Now we will talk about the nervous system. So here we are talking of control and coordination of frog, because here when we talk about the control and coordination, it is not only the nervous system but also the endocrine system, because there are so many things which take place inside the body of a frog, which is not only controlled by brain, spinal cord and nerves, but it is also controlled by certain chemicals which are present inside our body. So it has a very highly developed control and coordination system. It has a well-developed nervous system which has three parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. These are the three forms of nervous system. It also has a well-developed endocrine system which controls the chemical coordination of the body. It is formed by the endocrine glands. What are the endocrine glands? When I say endocrine glands, these are basically the ductless glands. We spoke about glands some time back. So examples would be the pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid, thymus, adrenal. These are all the endocrine glands. So nervous system and endocrine system together regulate the control and coordination of frog. So here we will focus only on the nervous system. So when I talk about the nervous system, as I said, they have three parts: central nervous system, which will talk only about brain and spinal cord; peripheral nervous system, which will talk about the nerves, the peripheral nerves, which connects brain and spinal cord to different parts of the body. So here we'll talk about two types of nerves, that is cranial nerves and spinal nerves. So cranial nerves are those nerves which are related to the brain. Spinal nerves are those which are related to the spinal cord. And then the third one, that is autonomic nervous system. Again, they are of two types: sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Well, we will not get into the detail of each of these forms of nervous system, but we will just talk about the brain and the central nervous system of frog. So let us quickly talk about the brain. So let us look at the brain of a frog. So the brain of a frog is broadly divided into three parts. That is the forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain. So if you look at this picture, you can actually see the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. So these are the three parts into which the brain is divided. So forebrain basically contains the olfactory lobes which can sense the smell. They also have paired cerebral hemispheres and unpaired diencephalon. So when we talk about the internal structure of human brain, we have spoken about all these things like the cerebrum, the cerebellum. We have spoken about all this. Now here we are not going to talk about all those things in detail. It is just to give you an idea how the brain of the frog is when you compare it with the human beings. Midbrain will have the optic lobes. So the olfactory lobes in the forebrain and the optic lobes in the midbrain. Talking about the hindbrain, you will have cerebellum and medulla oblongata. So basically, when we talk about brain, there are three things: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. So cerebrum is in the forebrain, whereas cerebellum and medulla oblongata, they are part of the hindbrain. So here you can see it from here. This is the medulla oblongata. So this part is your forebrain, and then midbrain, and then hindbrain. The sense organs in frog are again quite well established. They have olfactory receptors where in the nasal epithelium. So if you look at their nasal epithelium, they have that ability to smell. Auditory receptors are present at the tympanum. I was talking about the tympanum, right? Just below the eye, you have this auditory receptor. Photoreceptors are very clear, that is the eyes. Thigmoreceptors, that is the touch, that is present in the sensory papillae, and because of which if you touch them, they can feel the touch. Taste receptors are present in the taste buds. So if you see inside their mouth, they'll have the taste buds, and through that they can sense they can feel the taste. So these are the different sense organs in a frog. Now if you look at the internal structure of a frog, you can see so many different structures here, right? So here if you look at this red colored structure, this is nothing but the brain of the frog, which I was talking about some time back. The forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, they are all located inside this small structure. After that, if you see here, you can see the heart. So the heart is located here, and then you see two structures on both sides of the heart, this blue leaf-like structures. They are nothing but lungs. So they are the respiratory organs. Okay, then you go a little down, you see a big structure, a red colored structure, which is nothing but the liver. So this is the liver. Now talking about the digestive tract, you will see the stomach lying here. Somewhere here you have the stomach. Even below that you have this coiled structure, the coiled tube-like structure, which is nothing but the intestine. So the intestine starts from here. This is the small intestine, and then later this goes towards the anus or the exterior, so then it becomes the large intestine. This is the large intestine, and this opening is nothing but the cloacal aperture or the cloaca. So these are the different parts of the frog. So in this diagram, it gives you a better idea or a better knowledge on where exactly the organs are located in a frog. So with this, we will end our discussion on the different life processes taking place inside a frog. Now we are going to Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.